We were in a secret relationship for the longest time. Na my family wouldn't approve of it. They dislike my boyfriend. To commit to your decisions and face the consequences, you have to stand by your decision. Not in the sense na you think you are right, and that's very important. Just because you stand by your decision doesn't mean you're in the right. Surround yourself with people who understand and accept you. And not just you, but you and your partner.
Hello to everyone all over the world. Magkakasama na naman tayo sa panibagong kwentuhan this Saturday evening here at Usapang Lockdown. And for tonight, Usapang Love and Life naman tayo with our guest, Tita Casey Ramirez. Hello, Tita Casey.
Hi, Jacob. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so how are you coping naman po with the community quarantine going on?
Well, I've been used to it. It's been, 7 months now? But it wasn't easy. I lost my job actually at the start of the lockdown. I think one month in. It wasn't much of a shock for us. We were kind of expecting that already because we were in the travel industry. So as early as January, we were already feeling the brunt na mahina na benta.
Yeah.
So, so it wasn't a surprise, but of course, the challenges came in later. I'm still very lucky that I got it, but I had to wait for six months or maybe more. A lot of people I know are still jobless right now, so I was still very fortunate. Whoever is in a position that I was in, my advice would be as productive as you can. In whatever way, contribute in whatever way. It's bad enough na you don't have a job. It's even worse if you feel like what we're going to talk about nga. Sometimes you really have to wait and let time go by for a while and stand down. Diba? But it's not even the new normal anymore. It's really just normal now, right?
That's good to know, Tita Casey. We are glad that you're already doing well now, that everything is doing well for you. So, yeah, that's good to know naman, Tita Casey. We're glad that everything is well now for you, and we hope that will already continue on na. So, Tita Casey Tita Casey is in a unconventional relationship that there was a long time of waiting. So, alamin natin ang kwento nun later on. So, before we dig deeper, how long have you been together na ba, Tita Casey?
We've been in love, my boyfriend and I have been in love for 17 years.
Oh, wow. Ang tagal na.
And not yet married.
So, Tita Casey, why is it unconventional and what happened ba in the beginning?
We were in a secret relationship for the longest time. Very close friends know it, but my family did not approve. Actually, I would rephrase na my family wouldn't approve of it. They dislike my boyfriend, but it was never personal. They just thought they knew stuff about him, but I never really asked them in the beginning. At that time, maybe I was 20. It really was just to save the argument, just to prevent any war. I mean, it sounds dramatic, but syempre at that, my parents were still very, very feisty that they would have banished me. Alam mo yung mga ganong drama.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go through that. I felt like I could manage it. We could manage it. And we did. But at that time, I felt we weren't deserving in their eyes. So I had planned to continue and to sustain it until we have gotten to the point where nobody could argue and nobody would. And just let us be. I also wanted to prevent hatred and ridicule for my boyfriend because they didn't know him personally. Ayaw din nila. He whatever weaknesses or wrongdoings my family thought he did, it wasn't against my family. But you know how I'm a tita myself now, but you know how titos and titas could be, how family. I know it wasn't the best decision. It wasn't even a good one. It wasn't the right one. But I was brought up very independently. Whatever decision I make, I had to stand by it, and that was my decision then. So nagtuloy-tuloy lang. I would say yes, it's unconventional, yes, very much, because first of all, it was in secret. And also, essentially, I was leading a double life. We were leading a double life. So, very unconventional. I would admit myself na it's not inspiring at face value, maybe, na parang, okay, I would always get, bakit hindi na lang mag-out or whatever. But, yeah, like I shared kanina, for me, I didn't want the argument. It was also selfish on my part, but I was committed strongly enough that even if it would be very difficult and there would be karma maybe down the line, I would stick by it. So here we are.
Was it hard for you to keep your relationship from your parents, and how were you able to keep?
Well, it's hard because I'm very happy in both worlds. Kumbaga, being with my boyfriend and being with my family too. For me, there's no resentment towards them. But I compensated a lot for both sides. I don't know, it's hard to condense everything because it's been 17 years. But I would say it was difficult and mind-blowing at times, because I couldn't share how happy I was with my boyfriend. I also really couldn't share how happy I was with my family, because everything would still push those two worlds together. Of course, it would make life easier. But like I said, there were things I was trying to avoid, and it was really more convenient for me personally to keep those two aspects apart. But I have to say, I couldn't have done it if I wasn't supported by a very patient and very understanding boyfriend. So this might not apply to all. It really helps, and it will sustain you if your partner is on the same boat. If they understand everything, and if they are very, very patient with you. So yeah, I had that, and that sustained me from losing my mind and harboring hatred towards my family, and from being resentful. So I had that support. And also, both of us, we were both very, very focused on how we can make ourselves deserving, because we didn't plan na by this time, basta mag-out na lang kami, bahala na kayo kung anong sabihin ninyo. Hindi ganon yung angulo namin. It's more of, when we get there, when we're ready, they will accept us, and we will be deserving of that acceptance. It was never you and me against the world, whatever they say. Kasi if that were the case, dapat hindi na kami nagtago ever, di ba?
Was there a struggle to keep up with both worlds, to keep both worlds happy and healthy? And what were the challenges in that kind of set?
I think the main challenge is not being able to share. And be honest, and not being honest. I don't know, this sounds very existential siguro, pero it really kills the soul. I don't know I have no easier words for that. When I'm by myself, tapos dinidebate, yung kailangan kong pag-aralan, ano yung pwede kong ikwento, ano yung hindi. It really breaks apart your sanity sometimes. But those are the challenges. It eats you up little by little, and also to build strength para I can stand by my
Mm.
convictions na I can say this is what I decided to do.
Mm.
This might happen because this was my decision. I'm gonna take it.
Mm.
So minsan nakakapagod, nakakalungkot, those challenges. I would say there are regrets, definitely, but what are those gonna do to me now? Not really waiting for the right time per se, but
Mm.
letting time pass
Mm.
uh, until such a time that paths open
Mm.
up
Mm.
and people have changed,
Mm.
not just my family but also myself.
Mm.
So yun, personally I really wouldn't recommend it.
So you have mentioned na yeah, na minsan nakakapagod siya. Was there a time na you almost wanted to give up na, and how did you overcome that?
Yes,
Mm.
definitely there was a time that I wanted to
Mm.
just give up. But the reason why I would have wanted
Mm.
to give up, because life would have been so much easier.
Mm.
What helped me continue on,
Mm.
it doesn't necessarily mean that I will feel happy and fulfilled
Mm.
if things were easier
Mm.
or things were made easier. Yung
Mm.
kumbaga, we were in a perfect world, in an
Mm.
absolute world, wherein nobody would be judgmental
Mm.
or nobody would be overprotective.
Mm.
So yung mga ganun na, of course, life would have been easier. But it's just that easy in the sense na there's no one contradicting you.
Mm.
Yeah, it's easy. But that doesn't mean it will feel fulfilling. And in fact, I tried having a different life. I don't know, yung case ko lang, it backfired terribly. I broke my boyfriend's heart. I had to make up for it, and it took a long time for us to be, we never really returned to where we were. It's just that, again, time played a part.
Mm.
It changed me, it changed him, our situation,
Mm.
our individual situations changed. But yeah, like of course I wanted a different
Mm.
life, but it didn't work for me.
Mm.
It was just too easy. So
Mm.
anything that was too easy sounded too good to be true, and indeed it was.
So when were you able to tell your parents already? And what gave you the courage or yung turning point to tell your parents?
So like I shared earlier,
Mm.
I always planned. Well, we
Mm.
planned na we would be we would it would be the right time if we
Mm.
felt we were deserving of
Mm.
their acceptance. So it's been a long time
Mm.
coming. Hindi naman kami yung tipong 17 years din, wala kaming ginagawa. Alam mo yun, parang individual, separately, we
Mm.
were building our careers, we were working very hard, we were saving money. It was a long time coming. Hindi siya yung parang isang moment lang na, ito na yun, ganyan.
Mm.
So there was no turning point. I
Mm.
literally just felt ready. Of course, we were talking about it weeks, months before,
Mm.
but I decided on my own. But also, syempre, tiniming ko din ng maganda. Kasi
Mm.
my parents and I were gonna go out for lunch on my
Mm.
birthday. So
Mm.
I felt the good cards were with me. So that's when I said it. I just
Mm.
shared na I have a boyfriend, ganyan. Or basta whatever. Kung ano man, I mean, I don't really remember anymore what happened then. But it wasn't anything dramatic na
Mm.
there was a eureka moment. I felt like in my heart, in my mind, parang, parang pwede na. Let me just go for it. My friends through the years would say, why don't you just try
Mm.
to tell them, give my family a chance, ganyan. But through the years, I was always observant, always looking
Mm.
for signs, and they weren't there. there would have been a long, drawn-out fight that's essentially from preconceived notions or chika-chika ng mga families, yung mga ganun lang. So, yun nga, that was the one I wanted to avoid all along. It's weird, when I shared to my friends, they actually asked, did I think, or did I wish I had done it sooner? And ang sinasabi ko pa rin na hindi ko siya naramdaman before that I could do it. So yun. Of course I wish it would have happened sooner. But like I said, we had to feel ready. I personally had to feel ready. It just opened up for us.
So, since you lasted that long po, 17 years, it's so long then. So, this might sound like a pretty cliche question, but what was the secret, or how were you able to keep it that long, yung relationship niyo?
Well, like I shared earlier, there's a great deal of patience and understanding from me and from my boyfriend. And also we are in sync, not just with our interests, but also in our decision making. And lastly, I really feel that, so you said cliche nga this is even more cliche. I really feel that I am so deeply loved, that I had his support for whatever. And that sustained me through the years.
Syempre, people right now might be wondering or asking, kasi syempre in this generation, sa younger generation, it's very rare for people to last that long already. Minsan nga nakikita ko na sa Facebook, ay break na sila, hindi ko alam na sila eh. What's the secret to have a healthy relationship that will sustain that length of time?
Well, first of all, I envy the bagets na who are so out in the open, na yung tipong crush pa lang pero actually sila na, and they tell everybody about it. I envy them. I wish I had that experience, but well, regardless, to each his own, right? The biggest one, I won't say the best, but the most critical for me is to commit to your decisions and face the consequences. Parang joke time kasi 'di ba I kept it a secret nga. But what I mean is there's an equal and opposite reaction to whatever you do. You have to stand by your decision, not in the sense na you think you are right, and that's very important. Just because you stand by your decision doesn't mean you're in the right. But at the very least, you have to be ready to suffer the consequences of your choices. There comes sacrifice with it. Surround yourself with people who understand and accept you. And not just you, but you and your partner. But also, there's a caveat to that. These supporters are not supposed to be enablers 100% of the time. You have to surround yourself with people who are supportive, but also people who can challenge you and ask questions. Sometimes we can be so in love with our decisions, with our choices, with our plans, that we cannot be questioned. Friends are there to help you cope better and also to help you go through the motions better. Even if they unsuccessfully question you, it's still important that they could.
Yeah, I agree. Kasi parang ang hirap if the people around you just keeps telling you na, sige, gawin mo lang yan. Kasi parang sometimes pag nasa mindset ka na ay, this is what I want, hindi mo na iisipin yung both sides ng pros and cons of what you do. It's nice then to surround yourself, diba, with people that can question whatever you're doing.
Right. And my friends are like that. Even now, see, if I didn't hear questions from them, I would have just done anything. But at least when they question me, I could work things around better. Parang Oo nga no. Oh, okay, I'll just do it this way. Like, instead of openly being dishonest.
So before we end this episode, what were the lessons from this relationship that you would like to share with?
I've touched on many things already
Mm-mm.
earlier, but I want to leave you, Jake,
Mm-mm.
with this advice.
Mm-mm.
If you can do it right in the beginning, do so. I wouldn't say I regretted
Mm-mm.
keeping our relationship a secret. I really enjoyed that part to the fullest also. Um, I have no regrets, but you have to be ready. If you choose that route
Mm-mm.
of being hidden
Mm-mm.
muna, you have to be ready. I wouldn't advise it to everyone, but to those who need to go that path muna, be strong, be very, 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 very patient
Mm-mm.
and understanding of each other. Kasi parang you can say it's very dramatic na,
Mm-mm.
hindi, kaya natin to, tayong dalawa
Mm-mm.
lang, ganyan. There will come a time na you will have to face against each other too.
Mm-mm.
Kasi there's a lot of pressure and tension in that kind of setup. So you do have to remind yourself to always be patient and
Mm-mm.
always be understanding.
So there we have it for today's episode. I hope you learned a lot from today's kwentuhan and you gained some insights from our conversation with Tita Casey. Yes, thank you, Tita Casey, for joining us for today's kwentuhan. And join us again next week here at Usapang Lockdown.